Hello, everybody, and welcome to this Xbox Life episode 390 Pre-E3 2016. We are coming at you an hour early so we can get to the Bethesda conference, streaming live, I believe, on everything it can stream on. I am Brun BJ Swick 33. Along with me, of course, are two of the most handsome guys in the world, Rob and Mark. Say hello, guys.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hello,
Hello,
guys.
hello, hello.
And that's Mr. Presar and Mr. Wingman 709 to everybody out there. um, so if I'm glad, that our show that we're having right now has not been spoiled for everybody, like the entire E3 conference of 2016. We're going to
Okay.
do our pre E3. We should have did it last week because I don't think there's anything that's not known right now. Like,
Hey, hey, Mark, real quick, can you see if your audio is okay on the recorder? Because there's like something's being recorded nonstop from you.
I I see the line move when I talk, and it's not
Okay,
moving when I don't talk.
yeah, it might
okay.
just be
Well,
the
we'll
site.
see what happens.
Yeah,
All right.
might just be the site. So hey, Monkey Punch, welcome to the show.
Run got really quiet.
Oh, I'm still here. I haven't went anywhere.
I had to mention audio, didn't
Yes, you did.
Did he get real quiet for you?
I can barely hear him.
Okay, good. It's not just me. It's you, bro.
Well, I run through hardware, so I don't know what's going on. So,
Yeah, and the recorder barely, I mean, it's not picking up hardly anything from him. So
He was good
it's,
until he just started talking there.
yeah,
yeah, he
I don't.
sounded great until he started talking.
Yeah, I don't know. I got my mic right in front of me and everything. So, yep, we're starting early. Can you guys hear me? Everybody in chat, say yes if you can hear us. Everything seems to be good on my end. So, I'm a bouncing, barely bouncing when I
He's coming back. It's getting a little bit louder.
yeah. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, my Zencaster seems to be barely moving as it is too, so I'm not sure. I got everything
There.
up.
Now I hear you.
Oh, all right. Maybe it's just
He's back. Oh,
Skype. So, we'll see. I haven't been dropping anything. But we're doing the show this week. What we're doing is we're doing a half hour, 40 minutes right now, pre E3, and we're going to come back Tuesday after we get to see all the conferences and talk about it then. So we're skipping what we've been playing. We're skipping everything. We're going straight to the topic. So there's a couple things we want to talk about. One is what we think. I think Mark, I know you're in. I'm in. Rob, are you in the what is it? Um, the latest Xbox update.
Yes.
Okay, so we're
yes.
all three of us are in, and everybody's got to play with it. I take it, and so let's chit chat about that for a minute. What do you guys think about it so far? What you've gotten to play? Like, if you haven't played with it or anything, then don't comment. But if you have, what do you think? Rob, why don't you go
Yeah,
first?
yeah. I'll take it first. So, I got it, I think on Friday. So, I wasn't one of the first ones to get it. Probably one of the last ones to get it. And it seems okay. It's a lot more of the same. They definitely changed some parts of the store around. Some things are easier to find, or not to find, easier to navigate. Um, the ordering of the different um hang on a second, hang on, please hold. Or Mark, can you go?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I got it. I think it was on the 8th, which was Wednesday. The one thing I noticed right out the gate was that the dashboard is a lot faster, which I'm really happy about. So when you are at your home page and or your main dashboard and you use your stick to go to the left to bring up your little sidebar where your friends and you start your parties and all that, it comes up right away, which it never did before. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
super friggin' slow. So I see a lot of performance improvements, which has made me very, very happy. The only issue, okay, so there's that. They've redone the store, which I sort of like. There's things I really like about what they've done with the new store. One thing that's really cool, I think, is that when you go into movies and TV and you go and highlight a movie, so say you select a movie, when it goes to that movie page, it automatically starts playing that movie's trailer in the background, which I was like, hey, that's kind of cool. I don't have to actually go and click it to see, to watch it. You can. It's still an option, and you might want to do that to get rid of some of the text on the screen. But the way the page is designed, most of the trailer, you can see most of it with like a little image on the bottom left and some text on the bottom, but you can just tap down a few sticks and highlight the trailer and launch it and see the whole thing crystal clear. But I thought that was kind of neat that it kind of plays it in the background automatically. I did see in the game side the upcoming games is missing. I've been pretty active in the Xbox forums for the preview update, and Microsoft has confirmed that it will be coming back. They have purposely left it out for now while we're still kind of testing in beta all this. So we should see that make a return, so that you can go and see what's coming and look at your pre-orders and stuff like that. That was one I think I went into the upcoming games more often than I did anything else, because I'm always looking to see what else has been added, and I'm looking to see when Crackdown's available for pre-order and stuff like that. So right now you can't do that through the console.
You're like,
Um,
I got money in my pocket.
so
It
on
gotta
the
go.
8th, I noticed I didn't have the ability to buy anything. There was no buy or download boxes. Nothing was there.
I think your
So
wife requested that feature.
yeah, probably that's the wife feature, the add-on. I gotta remove that. No, the next day though, so I reported it in the forums, and the next day it was gone. It was back functioning properly. So that all seems to be working good. My really biggest frustration and my real I really feel like Microsoft screwed the pooch on this one, and that's they removed the Xbox commands, and if they've integrated Cortana. Now, I don't have a problem with Cortana, and I think putting it in is a great idea. But what they've done is they've completely replaced the Xbox commands, and I don't like it because for 3 years I've walked into my office and said Xbox on, and my whole system turns on. Now it doesn't do that anymore. You have to go, hey Cortana, Xbox on, and so it's like trying to train yourself now to say a completely different phrase, and it's twice as long. I mean, and I know people can be, oh, gee, how lazy are you? And that's not the point. It's
Yeah,
not the point that I don't want to
but you
say
know,
more words. It's the fact that for 3 years, I've walked in every day and said 2 words, and everything turns on. Now those 2 words don't work anymore, and I have to say four, and that's doesn't always work either. I've actually stopped using it. I've got one of these now. It's a little infrared remote for the Xbox One, and this sits on my desk, and I hit the power button now, because
it's so funny.
that's the best. It's just I've had to go back to either using a controller or using a remote to turn the box on because the voice commands essentially have kind of been broken. Also, with the Cortana stuff, when you say "Hey Cortana," it'll come up and it'll say "warming up." It like opens a
Ooh,
sidebar like a snap, and then it says "warming up," and then it
she's
says
warming up for
"listening."
you.
And then once it says listening, then I can complete the sentence. But here's the problem: you're in the middle of a game, you just pulled off an amazing headshot, and you're like, "Oh, Xbox, record that!" Or Xbox, take a screenshot. Boom, it would take a screenshot. Now you're like, "Hey, Cortana, wait, I'm warming up. Okay, I'm listening now. Okay, take a screenshot. Okay, now I'm going to do a search, a Bing search, and then I'm going to come back with lists in the sidebar of what screenshot means. I'm like, they totally broke it. They ruined it. It's like you can't. So we're not going to be able to get those quick screenshots anymore. And I think we can still get the video, but we have to basically retrain ourselves to completely learn a whole new set of voice commands. And every one of them starts with "Hey Cortana," and like the whole on thing. Instead of Xbox on, it's "Hey Cortana, Xbox on." It's like, why would you make me say like the system name twice? And the thing I think is funny, they're like, oh, it talks about natural speech. Well, no, it doesn't, because I have to say, hey, Cortana. And then another part of that, and it's going nuts right now. My Xbox One's on, the bar's going, and as I'm talking, it's doing all kinds of weird crap. I had to shut it off on my computer because when Brett and I were on waiting for you, Rob, to get before we recorded, we were talking about it, and I was like, well, let me show you. And I was talking, and my PC was responding. And the Xbox wasn't doing anything.
Nice.
So I had to go in and turn Cortana off on my workstation or on my desktop PC so that I could try to test it on there. And it's like someone in our forums was like, great, they have a Windows phone. So like every time they say or Cortana, they're gonna have 3 different devices answering.
Yeah, the one
So
thing
I think it's really stupid in that aspect. And what I wish they would have done is left the Xbox commands in and then just added Cortana as like if someone wants to use the Cortana feature, it's there. So why they had to completely rip out the Xbox commands seems kind of dumb to me.
right. What
But
if,
that's kind of so far. So outside of that, I really do like it. Oh, also, so they had a release on the 8th. The other thing I didn't like was the backward compatible games that were just announced like that day. I think it was, yeah, that was Wednesday. So there was like 4 new games, and XCOM Enemy Within was one of them that I own on disc. So I was like, oh, I never installed Enemy Unknown, which was the first XCOM game on 360, and that was backward compat quite a while ago. So I put the disc in, it installed it. It's got the new My Games and Apps right up on the top right, which I love. You just stick over and boom, you're there. The sorting options in there are fantastic. I've had they had big blocks and you had one on top of the other and it would scroll infinitely off to your right. Well, now they scroll up and down, and I've went and changed the tile size to small. So I get like 30 games on one page instead of like 6. So I can get to the bottom real quick. And then your ready to install is separate. So that's a
Right.
set.
Oh,
And then you can
real quick,
see
I like
on
that.
the
Hey,
left side.
about that list, it counts the games that you have. And I
Yes.
don't know about you, but that's a really big number.
Yeah.
It was
Um,
unexpected.
I was surprised. Mine, let me just go to it. I have installed Xbox, or I'm sorry, hold on. See, I can't even, I want to say Xbox Unsnap. Hey, Cortana, unsnap. Let's see if this works. It's still waiting. It's not doing anything.
Well, while
It's
he's
like
doing
this.
that.
Unsnap.
So somebody was
Yeah, see,
mentioning that
there it worked.
somebody was saying that Major Nelson showed something completely different as far as taking screenshots and stuff. So we might have to look in on that. And then another person mentioned use the controller because it's hit the Xbox button twice and then X does screenshot, and I think Xbox button twice and Y does records the video.
Okay.
But okay,
So yeah, you have other options, but
right. Oh yeah.
I've been saying Xbox take a
Right.
screenshot,
True.
and now it doesn't work. They
Yeah.
basically took a feature that they have advertised. This was in their promos. Hey, Xbox, record that. It was in games. Sunset Overdrive. There was actually a line where it's like the character you're playing, when you pulled off a really cool move, it would say, "Hey, Xbox, record that," And I'm like, so it was stuff. This was in their marketing. This was one of those things like, "Hey, look, you can tell your Xbox to do this," and now it's like, "Nope, we've taken it away." Now you can hit this button twice, hit this other button. Instead of just saying record it, I've got to double tap the button and hope that doesn't bring up the menu to say, do you want to shut off your console? Because that's usually what it does. And it's extra steps. It's making it longer to get that quick thing that you used to be able to do.
Yeah.
So they've really slowed it down. They're going to make it harder to get those quick. Ooh, I need a shot of that real quick. And it's just with the screenshot one. The video recording, if it takes you 10 or 15 seconds, you're probably still going to get it because it doesn't at 30 seconds, which you can alter. Now you can change how long it records. But the fact that it like goes through this Google or Bing search when it's a freaking Xbox command, it shouldn't have to go out and do that.
Yeah.
It's so, and I know it's beta, but it's like they still broke this. And a lot of people, you go out to the official forums for the preview, people are ticked off over this. This is like the one thing everybody's really mad at. Everything else, for the most part, is really good. They so the games, I've got 147 games. 37 apps and 81 games ready to install.
Yeah.
So,
As far as the beta part, I mean, I agree with everything that you said so far, and I think the snapping and the recording and stuff, or taking a screenshot and stuff, all needs to be just as fast and just as responsive as before, or else you got to consider it a failure. And that's just coming from development. Like, you don't put something in that's worse than what you had before.
and that's what
So
Cortana's done.
yeah, yeah,
It really has jacked up the whole thing. And I walked into there the other day. I was like, oh, Xbox off. Or just a moment ago, you guys heard it. I was trying to unsnap Xbox on snap. Oh, that's right. It's just you're ingrained. They've ingrained it in us. This is how you say it now. It's like, nope. Now you got to do this other thing. And like I said, now your other devices are going to start answering. And it's just a slower process. I think it'll be fine, and I don't mind having Cortana there. I just think their implementation really sucks that they removed all the other stuff.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm
you
not
know,
too
it
worried
is what it
about.
is. Just
Yeah, I'm not too
this-
worried
this
about.
puts it on.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about saying "Hey Cortana" versus Xbox. I mean, it is. It doesn't roll off the tongue as easy.
It does not.
I will admit that. I'm not going to like try to deny. I'm just we're not playing devil's advocate, but it's just one of those things. Like, I haven't used it as much lately since I moved to my computer. But if I did try to use it, I know I'll say Xbox. But one thing I wanted to say is, here at This Xbox Life, we do like to support our listeners and viewers. And I'm a little disappointed in Mark, because this was one of our listeners' number one request in the update, and that was Mr. Xbox Record That. He was tired of people not being able to call him by his gamer tag, so he requested to change it to Hey Cortana, and they listened.
Right.
So here we are trying to, we're just saying, Xbox Record That.
He's off my list.
Yeah.
No, he's going to change his name now. He's done this. When Kinect came out, he was known as Kinectimal. Then he changed it to Xbox Record That.
Oh,
Now he's going to have to change it to probably Hey Cortana.
yeah. I don't know what my Xbox is doing right now, but it is going crazy, and I don't think I've said Hey Cortana. Hey Cortana, Xbox off.
Oh.
Yes, I don't know if it's piping through my speakers now, so hold on.
Oh.
But
But
I'll
I've
Hey,
had-
Cortana factory reset.
yeah, let's not do that. The one cool thing that I will say that I do like is that you can now do it through your controller. So you won't need a Kinect. And people that use they put it in the controller, like pressing a button twice and X and Y and stuff. I mean, that's been there from the very beginning, and that's
Right.
been there for the people who do not have Kinect. But I will
Right.
say voice commands will work through your headset now, which I think is also pretty awesome. So,
Yeah.
but other than that, everything else is good, snappiness and all that stuff. So
There's some other things I was reading in the forums that did not get mentioned, and I'll see if I can find it while we're chit chatting. But there's been some things change in the settings that other people were like, "Man, this is great! I can't believe they're not talking about this." I'll try to find what that was again, see if I can track that down. But
all right.
other than that, there was another update on the 11th. So there was one on the 8th, and then another one on the 11th. So the only difference that I've noticed was on the 8th, I was saying that the XCOM would not install the XCOM Enemy Within, which was the brand new backwards compatible announced on the 8th. It did today. After I got that update, I tried to install it, and it installed just fine. So I don't know if they did some changes to that or to the store or whatnot, but that is now working. The Xbox commands are not back. I tried that. I was hoping maybe they would put them back. So I think if they just put the Xbox commands back in and still leave Cortana, I'd be really happy. It runs really smooth. I like what they've done. I just wish the Xbox commands were back because I use them multiple times every day.
I would
So
think
it's
it
really
would
hard to
change.
Adjustment.
This is like the first time that Cortana's in there, so they got to be adding it in bit by bit. I don't think that they would take all that out.
But what I don't understand is why they would take something, replace it with Cortana, where it actually breaks or slows or ceases a function of something or changes the functionality of something. And it's like they've had to have tested this out. They had to know when they ripped this out, it was going to impact the way people use these commands. So that's frustrating to me that they don't even. It's like, to me, I feel like they didn't consider it. They don't care. Oh, we're just going to do this. We don't care that it's going to screw it up or make it slower or make it not as responsive as we've been advertising for the last 3 years because we don't care. They're just going to do what they want to do. And that bothers me. It's like you get used to using something, they come and make a change and it's completely different. And it's not like with the 360 when they went from the blades to the new Xbox experience. I got that. This was, hey, look at this feature we have. You can talk to this. We're gonna, so they had this Connect thing, and I bought it and I use it now at this point. And I've said up until the 8th, I would never buy an Xbox One without a Connect. Today, I don't need to buy a Connect because I'm not even using it anymore. They took that feature that I loved away. They made it a lot more complicated to use, a lot slower to use. It's like I'll just freaking turn it on with a button now because now that's faster than saying 4 words and hoping it responds or saying it again because it didn't do it. And so
So
it's
if you turn Cortana off in the settings, does it go back to the old way?
no, no, they're gone. Xbox commands are gone with this update. They do not.
Even with Cortana turned off.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
turn Cortana off, you've shut the Connect off
Yeah.
essentially.
Essentially, throughout this beta, I think before they go live release, they're going to have to make it as responsive as before. I think that's the thing. It's hard to say. It's probably an improper way to say they've removed the feature because they haven't removed the feature. You can still talk to your Xbox, get it to do things. The problem is that what we're experiencing now before the update is not up to par to what it was. And that's what I was saying is like it would be to me as a developer, it's considered a failure if you're implementing new functionality that is worse than what you had in there before.
And
I mean,
and that's
so
the thing. And I'm hoping that they will get to the point where if I say Cortana record and why is it hey Cortana Xbox record that? Why can't it just be Cortana record that?
I've said
That should
Cortana.
make more
I've said
sense.
Cortana and it's responded to me. I haven't had to say hey.
Well, their official, they've got a post of the commands,
Right, and they all say hey.
They all say hey in front,
Right.
so I can try it without that. But then it's still like Cortana Xbox record that. So why can't it just be Cortana record that?
I don't think you
And
have to,
then have it work immediately like it did before. It should recognize this is an internal command to the system. I'm not asking it to go give me a flight time of an airline where they got to go out to the web and do a web search, but it does like this web search. So all those internal stuff should be instant. And hopefully they'll get there, and that'd be cool. If it gets there, then this will all become null and void, and I'll be a happy camper. It's just right now I'm not happy with that one piece.
Right,
At least
yeah,
at
so-
this point. But everything else is, I think, looks and runs great. I'm like, it's all minor stuff, but the performance alone has made it worth it. So.
all of them have the word hey in front of Cortana. The only one where you actually have to actually say Xbox is to turn it on. So if you say hey Cortana Xbox on, and then everything else is hey Cortana, and then turn off, restart, record that, take a screenshot, switch, change view, show menu, go back, go home. So like the only one that requires the Xbox part of it in front of it's to turn it on, and that's only if you have Kinect. But yeah, it's going to take a bit to get used to. But we're spending a lot of time on that. Rob, did you have anything you want to throw out? Because we're trying to keep it about a 40-minute show so we can get everybody.
No, I think we covered pretty much everything.
Okay.
I just did check it. I got an update this morning.
Okay. I'll have
So
to
that
check.
must be that second one that you were talking about, Mark.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall it seems better. I'm actually kind of surprised that it ran as smooth as it did for the first of the
Yeah.
new preview.
Same here.
Pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
actually.
Same here.
And hopefully it continues that way. I'm expecting some issues, and again, I'm pleasantly surprised. It's been going okay. So yeah,
Skype
good
kept
stuff so
launching
far.
on me after the 8th. It just kept coming up for some reason. I'm like why?
Yeah.
Nothing. So hopefully that goes away. But
All right. So next thing here, we're going to do some pre-E3. Now, the problem is, like we started off the show, This is, I think, by far the worst E3 leading up to an E3 that we've had. I mean, last year we had some companies and stuff, they've made announcements prior to E3. That's because they weren't going to get the time to be on the stage or whatnot. So they announced it ahead of time to get ahead of it, as a PR thing. This year, everything's been like I don't want to say everything. Like I don't know what to expect. Maybe that's the cool part about it. But all the cool stuff's been blown, and it's all been blown up by like these petty little websites. And then of course all those little websites, all the big ones have to jump in because we got to get our ad revenue from people coming to our site. So if somebody leaks something, we have to put the leak up. It's like there's no fun in E3 anymore. I don't know what the problem was, but I think as an industry, they better get stuff under control because this E3 has been ridiculous when it comes to leaks. Um, but that's my opinion. So with our E3 predictions, we may say I don't know if you guys have anything that's already been announced, but we'll kind of cover some of the things if we.
I got a prediction.
Okay.
I predict a white Xbox One S with a 2 terabyte drive.
Which leaked today. Leaked today.
Exactly.
Well, I think we all knew the Slim was going to be there because that leaked prior. Now they showed a screenshot of it, or whatever supposedly leaked image. Looks cool. Looks a little bit smaller, thinner. I think it has a built-in power supply.
Yeah, it's like 40%. It's 40% of the size of the Xbox One.
All right. Yeah.
So, or wait, it was or 40% smaller. I think
Yeah.
it was 40%. So it's 60%. So basically, it's all about half the size of the current box with an integrated power supply.
Yeah, I did see it where it was sitting vertical, and when I saw it sitting vertical, you know what it reminded me of?
Oh, we?
No, the PS, like the Slim PS2 from way back when.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it kind of brought that in. I'm not saying they copied off of PS2, but it kind of brought back that image, like, oh, that's pretty cool. But of course, it's white because they switch between black and white. Um, but yeah, good prediction, Wing. Congratulations.
Woohoo! What do I win?
Yeah, was that your first one, Rob? Would you like to throw out a prediction?
I would predict a rose gold Xbox One with 2.1 terabyte drive.
Okay, a boy can dream. A boy can dream. Do you have a serious one that you want to throw out?
So just I always see these things kind of being broken up into two different things: hardware, software. The hardware stuff's been talked to death, I think.
Right.
Um, you know, we know what we know so far based on the leaks that they've had, and I would expect pretty much everything to essentially come true. I don't know if they'll announce it at E3, but probably within the next year, all that stuff will be out. Software wise, I mean, I don't know what else they can announce with the dashboard. I would hope that there's going to be some news on the new dashboard, some new feature that we don't know about yet. And I'm hoping that that's something that they were able to keep quiet
Yeah.
and not leak like the hardware stuff. Um,
I want to see an expanded sharing. That's what I would like to see. Some of that initial dream that they announced 3 years ago.
yeah.
Same thing we say, or I know I say every year. I'm like, I'm hoping that the sharing, and I have that in my predictions. It's like I hope the sharing
And yeah.
is coming finally.
And I would like to see the conversion from retail to digital. For the folks that have a retail copy, let's say they don't want the retail anymore, they can convert it to digital and do something with the disc. That would be cool. I mean, that was part of the original.
Yeah, well, the problem with that one
So-
was that you can't get rid of the disc. You can't install it and then sell your disc. That's why everybody was all upset about it. But yeah. my top prediction I have up here is the Scorpio will not be mentioned or seen during the conference, and that is because Sony says that theirs isn't going to be there. But to make Wing happy. VR will still be mentioned and possibly shown. So I still think that they'll come out and say we've partnered with this group or both groups or whatever. And even if they wanted to, they could show the game playing. But the thing is they won't say if it's playing on a current Xbox. They won't say if it's playing on a Scorpio. They're just going to say we have VR coming. Here's an example of our VR. It is coming next year. So then when next year rolls around, if VR is popular next year and they still want to do it, if it has to come along with a Scorpio or something like that, then they can announce that next year. I think it would be now. I read the interwebs and the nets and all that stuff, and everybody thinks that Xbox still has to show the Scorpio, because if they don't, they're completely doomed, and they need to do something to, how did they put it, have any chance of catching Sony this time. And as if there's still, in my mind, still a hope for them to try to sell 40 million or 60 million units or whatever, as if that Xbox is completely dead and they're doing horrible. But I don't think it's going to be mentioned. I think it's just Sony in my mind, and I told Mark this yesterday, Sony in my mind isn't going to show theirs off because they knew they were going to get their rear end handed to them by the Scorpio, because the Scorpio is so powerful that they had to step back and say, oh no, we can't announce an inferior product to Xbox because we've sold 40 million units. So I think they're waiting on Xbox to announce theirs so they can try to one-up them.
What if they're saying that they're not going to do it, hoping that Microsoft won't, and then they're going to come out, boom, and announce it after Microsoft hasn't?
Well then,
I mean, that's the thing. And Microsoft can always talk about it. There's always news. Not everything's given out in that press conference. There's a lot of stuff that comes out, the next couple of days that sometimes we think, wow, that should have been in the press conference.
Right, yeah.
But having a brand new piece of hardware and then putting it out without talking about it in your main show, to me, seems crazy. So
right.
Well, I get that if they're coming out with the S and they're going to come out with the Xbox Minis and they're going to have these streaming devices, they're not going to want to talk about the Scorpio, because then it's like, well, no one's going to want to buy these.
True. Yeah.
I get that. But I don't think they can come out and say they can't let Sony, and Sony said they're going to show off VR. That's coming out this year.
Yep.
So I don't think Sony can't play that game, because they're committed to the hardware already. It's done. It's shipping this year.
Yep.
So that stuff is they've got to already be manufacturing these things so they can get them to the stores. That has to have already started. So that I don't think that in Microsoft, we know the Scorpio is supposed to be coming out next year. So I don't think that. I think Sony can't not say it and then show like it's playing on a PS4. Microsoft can't show VR like it's on a current hardware when it actually is going to require new hardware. I think both companies are going to, if they do that and they show VR and don't talk about the new hardware, then I think that's really not a good thing for either company.
Yeah, and to me, it's like, one of my other the kind of predictions I said Helix will be true, and it'll be coming out when our current update that we have for the Xbox goes live, and Helix is the whole your PC is an Xbox type thing. I think if that would be true, a true statement, then their VR could be, like, well, it's running on Xbox, running on PC or whatever. But there's a whole thing. But I do agree with you, Mark. Like, what if Microsoft doesn't show it and then Sony turns around and does show it? Then I think Microsoft the next day looks at the dirty move that Sony just made to them because they said they weren't going to talk about it and then turned around and did, and make them look like a bunch of idiots by saying ours is this much more powerful, and oh, by the way, it's cheaper than yours, and and just basically reverse what Sony did to them. Because Sony has come out and said
there ain't going to be no pricing talk. I'll guarantee that.
Sony's already said, like, their new one, the Neo or 4K or whatever it's called, is going hand in hand. It's a premium version. It's going to cost more than the current PS4. They've already said all those things. And then if you remember way back when we talked about this, they were like, "Oh, and all of the PS4 games will be playable on both, and VR will be playable on both." And what did we say? What did we say?
The VR will require the Neo.
Right. And well, and we said, "Oh, both will be playable on both systems
Oh,
until
they
it's
don't.
not." Yeah,
Right,
until it's
don't.
not. You know, and that's what they said. And then what did this announcement say? Well, all of, if not a high majority of the games will be playable on both. So already they're going in reverse. Let's back on up. Let's back on up. and to me, if the Scorpio, like I kind of came to a consensus with everybody of with what you guys are saying, like Xbox has to have hardware. If Sony's showing it, they have to have VR if Sony's showing it. And to me, I was like, I would prefer just a new one, like make this the new Xbox, and of course it would be backwards compatible. But I think at some point in time you would say and future compatible, but there will be a cutoff day when it says, okay, we're going Scorpio only. And you have to do that. And then, I mean, that may be a year and a half, 2 years down the road, but I think you have to do that because you're not going to have such a powerful box and then tell developers, but you can't use it. You can't use that, so. But
well, you look at it this way too. The 360 is gone. They're no longer. You can't buy.
True.
Once stock in the current stores is gone, they're out. They're not building it. So there's no cheap console.
True.
So I don't see a problem with Microsoft coming out and saying, "Hey, we've got the Xbox One Slim or the S, the new white one. We're going to sell out the current stock of the black ones that we have, and this will be the new low end box, the cheaper box, $200, whatever, $299. Maybe it stays the $299 price, right where they currently are. Maybe they discount the black ones to be $199. The white ones come out at the current price, and then they say, and then next year, because we know it's 2017 for Scorpio, we're going to have this VR system, and it's going to do this, and it's going to be more powerful. And there's always a market for the cheaper box. We saw that with PS4.
Yeah. Yeah.
They sold those things based on price and nothing else.
Right.
Because they didn't have the games.
Right.
They still don't. And they're still selling them. So it's price based, and we got a bad economy. People are going, there's always room for that. So I think that they can still safely put that out there, challenge Sony, and force them. And then if they don't say anything, then it does, on a hardware that's coming out this year, that doesn't make sense when Microsoft's already saying, boom, here we go. We're going to have it. They're not going to give a price, but I think they should. And the streaming stuff has nothing to do. The Xbox streaming mini devices, they don't even play into this. It's
they're not
a completely different thing if that comes to true.
Right.
I think the S and the Scorpio could be announced at the same show. I really do. But that's all I want to see tomorrow. I'm so excited because everything else has been ruined. I want to know what the hardware is coming out.
Yeah.
And I think that's a first for me.
Yeah, and I know I'm predicting that it won't be there and it won't be seen, but hey, I'm not gonna be all upset if I'm wrong in that prediction. And Wing, we'll go to your next prediction here in a second. The only thing I want to say, and you kind of hinted on it too, and I know we talked about it last night, and actually Brentley was there when we were talking about it, is the problem with the VR stuff that's going to be shown in Sony's press conference is they are going to have to tell people what they are seeing running on what. If you don't see Sony coming out and saying, here's our VR product, here's a game, and they don't say running on 4K or running on PS4, they're going to be in a world of hurt if they don't, because they're going to be showing this VR, and if it's running on the new one and they don't tell people, everybody's going to make an assumption it's running on PS4 because the new console's not there. So we'll have to see. I'm anxious because I listened to Colin and Greg and stuff. They said that Sony would get booed when they announced the new console. So we'll see what happens. But that's Sony. We're enough with hardware. What's your next one?
Rob, you got any? Or?
No, keep going.
I'm gonna go out because here's one that has not been ruined, and so this is a true prediction. I'm gonna say that we are gonna get a release date for Crackdown 3. I think we're going to see a beta this month for Crackdown 3. Last year, they said it was coming summer of 2016. Mm-hmm. And then later on, I think they said it was a multiplayer beta, or it was later on, it was said multiplayer beta the summer of 2016. So, we haven't heard anything since. So I'm predicting we're going to get a Crackdown 3 announcement tomorrow, and I wouldn't be surprised to see the multiplayer beta by the end of the month.
All right, and I'm going to, since these are predictions, I'm going to say we are not going to get a beta of Crackdown because Crackdown is going to release digitally on Tuesday.
Oh, dude, that would be. Oh, dude. Oh, boss, I'm sick. Oh man,
I know.
Dude, I would come down with the blue flu immediately.
Yeah. I told you this yesterday. You're like, oh, bro, there's no way. I said, well, these are predictions. They're supposed to be fun. Why not throw one out? Like, okay,
so it's not gonna happen because they gotta have the pre-orders.
I'm going to say I agree that it's not going to happen, but I put Crackdown in there, and I have a question mark. I think a game is going to release digital only starting Tuesday. I just don't know what it is. I think they're going to do something like that. It'll be cool.
It'll be Monday. Their conference is Monday.
Well, I know, but it'll release Tuesday on the normal, like the normal gaming cycle.
If they're going to do it, they're going to say, and you can get it now.
Oh, okay. I'll take that.
The show like they've done in the past.
Okay, I'll take that.
That's right.
I'll up you on that. Crackdown tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m.
Because we've already had the Halo Wars thing. I was hoping it'd be Halo Wars, but they already kind of ruined that by saying that the beta is going to release, next week?
This week, yeah.
This week, yeah, that's right. So
This
that's
week.
kind of a bummer. But yeah, I like your prediction on the Crackdown thing. So, but Rob, what do you got next?
Keep going.
Keep going. All right, he's
you guys have some good stuff there.
All right, so we know rumors about a new controller. It didn't look like a new controller on the S version that was there, the picture they had.
Right.
I had a prediction that the new controller that they're talking about is not another premium controller. I think what it is, it's going to be the Elite controller, but no customizations. So, like, it'll have the paddles underneath. It'll have, basically just the paddles. I think that's the only thing you can have. Like, it'll resemble the Elite controller, but it won't be all the magnetized stuff. That's what I think the new controller is going to be. So that was going to predict that one. So I already mentioned that. Okay, what do you got next? Do you have any more?
I don't remember.
Okay. One more.
I didn't realize everything was ruined. So
yeah. All right. So I had another one. Red Dead 2 will be announced on Microsoft's stage. That'll be Rockstar's next game. And what they'll do is when they show it, what they're going to say is Red Dead will be is backwards compatible now, available now for the first Red Dead Redemption, and it is digitally free. It's an extra Games with Gold this month. So that's one of my other ones. So Red Dead 2 announced, Microsoft stage. Red Dead 1 is backwards compatible and available to download for free. So, any more?
Yeah, integrated mic in that controller, by the way, as Dark Christoph said.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that's another thing too.
Yeah,
you wouldn't need a headset to talk to Cortana.
Yep.
You could just use the integrated mic, and again, that gets rid of the Kinect.
Yep.
Because really, Kinect is only being used now for voice commands.
Yeah.
You don't really need that anymore. They don't use the camera or anything except for Skype.
Yeah, I'll be unplugging mine. So just one less thing underneath my desk plugged in. So do you have any more? Because I got two more real quick ones.
Here, I think that they'll announce Rise of the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition for release this holiday season.
Okay.
A little bit of sarcasm there.
Okay.
Wait a minute. How come? Oh, I've got one. I can't believe Rob messed up on this one. The Shadow Complex 2 will be the downloadable game this week.
I had that too, and I forgot to put it down.
Rob, you're slipping, buddy.
Yeah. I tried to think. I was like, oh, Rob's going to steal that one from me.
I know. I was waiting for him to talk about it.
I already mentioned before. I mentioned Helix will be true and be launched with the latest OS update is live.
What is Helix?
Helix is, in my mind, my prediction of it, or what I would feel that it is I have a hard drive plugged into my Xbox right now, right? A 4 terabyte hard drive. So basically, all my Xbox is an Xbox with the OS. my prediction is Helix takes the Xbox app, makes it basically the OS, which is on the Xbox. So I can unplug my 4 terabyte drive, plug it into my computer, because you will need a separate USB hard drive for your games. I can plug it into my computer, open the Xbox app, launch my games, and play them through my PC.
Freaking sweet, dude.
Yeah. So basically, essentially, what that does is makes every PC an Xbox. Every Windows 10 PC an Xbox, as long as you have an extra hard drive.
So I could travel with my Surface Pro 2 and my Xbox hard drive and a controller.
I do believe there will be some sort of limitations. You will have to have some sort.
Oh, don't say that. Say Surface Pro 2 or higher. Come on.
I think there will be. And the thing is, that's not getting rid of the Xbox. If you want an Xbox to play on your TV, go for it. My Xbox plays on my middle monitor on my PC. So essentially what that does is it gives me 2 Xboxes. Plus, it then automatically makes the Xbox One the best-selling platform of this generation, because then we're at like what, 1 billion. So Sony can take their 40 million and shove it.
Suck it, Sony. They instantly win the console.
Thank you. And what I love, Phil Spencer just mic drop and walks off the stage. Even though I don't think that'll happen, but
my kids will be like,
yeah.
Mind blown.
Yeah. And I mentioned the game sharing as well. I think the friends and family game sharing type of thing needs to come. It needs to happen. It needs to be there. But and also the Helix thing, I want to say, out of both Microsoft and Sony, we need something that's moving gaming forward. Enough of this back and forth with each other, trying to beat each other at something. How about you give something to the gaming community as a whole? And I think something like Helix does that, because if you're somebody like me or somebody has a decent PC, a gaming PC, if it's already an Xbox and you want to buy a console, what console can you go purchase with your money at that point? You can go buy a PlayStation, right? And then you could have both consoles if you can't afford to buy both and you have to pick one or the other. And I think the Helix not only helps with Xbox and stuff like that, but it also helps Sony, and it helps gaming as a whole. But I want to see what the next push forward is, and maybe Sony's VR is pushing gaming forward. You know, low price does a great job, but somebody's got to do something to push gaming into the next realm. So, but that's all I had. Those are all my predictions. I was going to do community, but we're running out of time. We only got 10 minutes to get everything settled down and get all the streams back up. So I think we'll read off our emails and stuff Tuesday when we're doing a longer show. Does that sound cool with everybody?
Sounds good.
Yeah, because Bethesda starts in like 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
Watch that. So
9 minutes. 9 minutes. So.
Just a reminder to everybody, it's a short show tonight, but yes, we will be back Tuesday. What time, guys? Because we haven't settled on a time Tuesday.
You want to do 9 or 10? Let's do 10, or let's do 9.
That work for you, Rob? 8 o'clock Tuesday night, your time?
Yeah, it should work.
Okay.
All right, that'll be all right. So we'll be back on this Tuesday. So in 2 days, to do a post E3 discussion where we'll talk about EA, Bethesda, Sony, Microsoft, Ubisoft, and anything else we hear. We'll be back doing a live show here on Twitch this Tuesday night. So 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Pacific.
Yep. All right. Well, let's hope plenty of good things coming out of 3. I'm excited. Hopefully everything wasn't ruined, like you said, but we'll see. So,
I want to know what Ubisoft's going to drop. That's my prediction. Ubisoft. I'll have an Ubisoft prediction. They're going to drop a game that is going to blow our minds again for the 4th year in a row that nobody's heard of.
Graw 3.
Has it been 3? Because they did it with Watch Dogs. They did it with The Division. Last year was Ghost Recon Wildlands. Mm-hmm. So this year there's got to be something else in there. We know Watch Dogs 2 is not going to be it.
Yeah,
they're going to have something else. So that's what I want to see, the very end of the Ubisoft press conference. That and a Microsoft show, the 2 I'm most interested in.
Yep.
So.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining us. Pre-E3. We will be back in a couple days. Everybody enjoy. I am Brun BJ Swick 33.
This is Rob, also known as Presar. Thanks for listening, everybody.
And I'm Mark, aka Wingman 709, taking off.